Episode 202. The young woman felt her strength drain away, her legs gave out, and she collapsed to the ground. Her entire body was frozen, not a shred of warmth left in her chest. She wanted to scream for help, but her throat was dry and hoarse, no sound would come out. At last, her spiritual sense began to blur, and before long she sank into an eternal darkness. And anyone passing by early the next morning would only find it slightly odd that a patch of black, bloody stain had appeared there for no reason at all. At the moment the young woman died, Han Li was in his own room, checking over every magic tool and talisman on him, preparing to set out. Once everything was in order, he glanced out the window at the crescent moon, a trace of loneliness settling on his face.
Almost time. The poison should be taking effect.
Han Li let out a soft sigh, then left the room and headed toward the green robe courtyard. Han Li's suspicion of the fifth sister had actually arisen while he was detoxifying the Mengshan martial brothers. Though the fifth sister had been poisoned with the same toxin, its potency was far milder than in the other three, likely not enough to prove fatal even if it did take effect. In contrast, the blood curse on her was one that Han Li had struggled mightily to remove. This meant the young woman had been under the blood curse for quite some time, or else it wouldn't have left such a deep mark on her spiritual sense. Acting with caution, Han Li placed a small restriction on the young woman while lifting the blood curse, keeping it as a contingency. As for the restriction's function, it was quite simple. It could temporarily gather the residual medicinal power of the 2 antidote pills in a specific part of the body, and when needed, suddenly transform it into a deadly poison. These 2 bottles of pills were called the impermanence pills. They could serve as a universal antidote, or be transformed into poison through a specific technique. They were among the spoils Han Li kept. Han Li secretly summoned the 5 friends of Meng Mountain and made sure they witnessed the woman acting as a mole. Only then did he make his move, capturing her and using his spiritual power to tap several acupoints on her body. These finger strikes not only sealed off most of his magic power, but also triggered the dormant restriction. In just a few moments, if Han Li didn't lift it again, the woman would die without a sound, leaving no trace behind.
Out of respect for the 5 friends of Meng Mountain, I was on the fence about whether to kill this woman. But revealing the Qin estate's connection to us was never an option. That is the bottom line.
Truth be told, when I first set that restriction, it was just a precaution on Han Li's part. Never expected it would actually come in handy.
If she had just stayed at the Qin residence making talismans, I might have held off triggering the restriction early. But now she's fled, whether or not the 5 friends of Meng Mountain let her go on purpose.
When Han Li arrived at the Clear Sound courtyard, the dark-faced old man and his companions, though weary, had everything ready and were quietly waiting for him.
Move out.
Beneath the night sky, the new prince's mansion loomed like a colossal beast, a silent warning to any petty thief who dared covet its treasures. Han Li and his companions slipped in under cover of concealment spells. Though the new prince's estate had been in an uproar all day over old immortal Wu's mysterious disappearance, by this late hour everyone except a few guards and sentries had long since turned in. Now they were deep in the sweetest part of their slumber. Once inside the estate, Han Li quickly found a professional guard and used his mind control technique to force him to reveal the locations of Steward Wang and the young prince. Then, with a single palm strike, he knocked the man unconscious.
Of those 2, the young master has the lowest cultivation. We strike him first, then deal with Steward Wang last.
The 4 friends of Meng Mountain, already stunned by the true identity of the Black Fiend sect's mastermind, found no reason to object to Han Li's words. One by one they nodded in agreement. To these cultivators, the young prince's status as a core disciple of the Black Fiend sect was far more troubling than his royal bloodline. Then, the group silently approached the young prince's residence, a 3-story building. There were still several palace guards nearby, and to prevent them from interfering once the fight broke out, the 4 mountain friends moved before Han Li could even lift a hand, stepping forward one by one to take down the guards. Han Li watched their practiced movements and gave a quiet nod of approval.
It seems having a few subordinates isn't so bad after all.
Having learned from the guards that the young prince resided on the highest, third floor, Han Li ordered the men not to go upstairs but to lie in ambush around the perimeter instead.
If that young lord proves too cunning and slips through my fingers, they can still intercept him and buy me some time.
Of course, to avoid alerting Steward Wang on the other side of the estate, Han Li didn't hesitate to expend his magic power, casting an oversized soundproof barrier that enveloped the entire area, several dozen yards in every direction around the small pavilion. Then, he drifted lightly up to the third floor and vanished into the attic. While the four friends of Mount Meng stared at the third floor of the small building without blinking, a figure shot out from within. The group was startled, but when they saw it was still Han Li, they breathed a sigh of relief, though a deep sense of confusion lingered.
Senior Han, you've already succeeded? But where's the young prince?
Han Li landed from the upper floor, and as he saw the four of them gathering around, he furrowed his brow.
No one upstairs, just a puppet conjured by illusion magic. He must have stepped out for something.
Han Li's words left the others exchanging bewildered glances, momentarily at a loss for what to do.
Could the fifth sister have tipped them off? Did they slip away ahead of time? Or is this some other kind of trap?
No. If they had set a trap, it would have sprung the moment we entered. Back when we were completely off guard.
The others couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, yet they still found themselves glancing around nervously.
Indeed, nothing unusual happened.
Senior, what should we do now? Should we retreat and try again another day?
Let's go after that Steward Wang first. If he's not there either, we call off today's operation and pull back immediately.
At Han Li's words, the four friends of Mount Meng exchanged glances and silently nodded in unison. Han Li released a few hand seals, withdrew the barrier, and took the lead toward the other side of the manor. The others followed close behind, never straying an inch. The steward's residence wasn't a private pavilion like the young master's, but it was still a stand-alone three-sided courtyard he had all to himself. When Han Li and the others drew near, a faint light was still flickering from one of the rooms. Han Li raised an eyebrow. Looked like this time he wouldn't be going home empty-handed. With that thought, Han Li made a stealthy, cautionary gesture to the others, then immediately began circulating his newly learned nameless qi condensing technique. The spiritual qi on his body dissipated without a trace, leaving him as ordinary as a mortal. Then his form flickered, and he was suddenly at the base of the wall of the lit room, pressing his ear tightly against it. Because Steward Wang had given Han Li an extremely unsettling feeling, he didn't dare to recklessly extend his spiritual sense to probe the room, afraid of being detected. But Han Li had only listened for a moment before his expression shifted. He flew back and immediately concealed himself behind a massive flowering tree.
This scene caught the monks of Mengshan Temple nearby completely off guard, but then Han Li's voice rang in their ears.
Stay sharp. That young prince is inside too. Let's play it by ear.
Those words sent a chill through them all. Instinctively, they held their breath, eyes fixed on the door, afraid to make a single sound.
With a soft sizzle, the door swung open, revealing a young man in a light green brocade robe, the young prince himself. He turned back, exchanged a few words with the person inside, then strode into the courtyard as the door swung shut on its own. Then, the light behind the paper window flickered a few times before going out completely. It seemed the person inside was settling in for the night. Han Li watched the man's every move with an expressionless face.
I still can't sense any magic power in him, yet the faint sense of danger he gives off is undeniably real. By all logic, he should have been a disciple of the Black Fiend sect.
Perhaps because he was still within his own estate, the young prince didn't hurry back. Instead, he stretched like an ordinary man, gazed up at the bright moon, and let out a sudden sigh. Finally, he began pacing back and forth in the small courtyard, his face a mask of worry as if weighed down by some difficult problem.
It seems that little prince won't be leaving anytime soon. If we make our move now, it's definitely not going to work. That steward Wang is right next door in the other room. If we so much as start a fight, it'll naturally wake him up, and then we'll be in real trouble. As things stand, the best approach is to wait until the young prince returns to his quarters, then pick them off one by one.
Fortunately, these were all cultivators. Patience was a virtue they possessed in spades. Each of them remained perfectly concealed, never once revealing a single flaw. After about the time it takes to eat a meal, the young prince finally stopped pacing and stepped out of the courtyard.
This brought a flicker of joy to the ambushers, but what happened next caught them completely off guard, and in an instant, their fury blazed sky high.
The moment the young prince stepped out of the courtyard, he produced a set of clothes from seemingly nowhere with a flick of illusion, and in a flash, he had changed into a blood-red masked figure.
So he's the one behind the ambush. Senior Han was right. We found our man.
The young prince, now in different attire, radiated a faint killing intent and a respectable level of magic power, appearing to be at the 11th layer of chi condensation. Instead of returning to his quarters, he tossed a blood-red, rod-shaped magic tool into the air and took off on his flying arts.
Seeing this, Han Li's eyes flashed coldly as he immediately sent a telepathic message to the other four.
Follow him. No matter where he goes, we take him down before he gets there.
The four brothers of Meng Mountain, having heard Han Li's command, wasted no time. They all channeled their chi and shot after him.
Han Li, who had stayed behind to keep watch on Wang Zhongguan, deliberately lingered for a while longer. Seeing no change in the room, he hesitated for a moment, then, still uneasy, tossed out his wind spirit boat and followed after them. Han Li's spirit wind boat was far faster than the magic tools of the four Meng Mountain brothers. In just a moment, following the trail of spiritual chi they had left behind, he caught up to them above a desolate temple outside Yujing City. The four friends of Meng Mountain were hovering mid-air, looking rather disheveled and flustered, spinning in circles as if they couldn't make up their minds.
They rushed over to greet Han Li.
What's going on?
We chased him all the way here, and just as we were about to make our move, the little bastard must have spotted us. He suddenly ducked into this rundown temple. In this temple, someone had laid down restrictions, with an array guarding it. We tried to force our way in, but we all got hurt. We pulled back immediately and didn't dare go near it again, afraid there might be more traps inside.
An array.
Han Li found this equally headache-inducing. He was no expert in the art of arrays either.
Let me take a look first.
With that, Han Li activated his Heaven's Eye technique and peered downward with careful focus.